Have you ever experienced that moment of absolute dread? You are making a critical call, navigating a foreign city, or maybe trying to record that once-in-a-lifetime event, and the dreaded red icon appears. Low battery, device shutting down. Now, stop for a second and ask yourself this profound question. What if that moment never happened again? What if the device in your hand, or the car in your garage, or the sensor monitoring the structural integrity of a bridge, was powered by a battery that lasted not a day, not a year, but a literal lifetime? A battery that never degraded and never needed recharging. This is not just a technological upgrade. This is a total societal revolution. Welcome to a world where power anxiety is obsolete. We are going deep into the hypothetical future of perpetual power, exploring the massive economic shifts, the unparalleled explosion of innovation, and the surprising new problems we might face. Let us start with the immediate and brutal economic reality, the great obsolescence. The moment a truly perpetual battery hits the market, a multi-trillion-dollar industry evaporates overnight. Think about the colossal infrastructure built around the temporary nature of power. First in line for collapse are the charger manufacturers. Companies like Anker, Belkin, and every generic brand churning out USB-C cables and power bricks are suddenly making artifacts. The power bank, that chunky lifesaver we carry everywhere, becomes a relic of a bygone era, perhaps sold in antique shops next to floppy disks. Next up are the traditional battery giants, Duracell, Energizer. Their business model is fundamentally built on replacement cycles. If you never need to replace an AA battery in your smoke detector or the lithium-ion pack in your laptop, their core market ceases to exist. These corporations would face a monumental pivot. Either they rapidly acquire the perpetual technology, or they become historical footnotes. Even the everyday retail experience changes. Imagine walking through an airport, no more crowded charging stations. No more frantic searching for an available outlet in a cafe. The entire ecosystem designed to feed temporary power becomes redundant. This initial disruption would be volatile, causing stock market shockwaves, but ultimately freeing up enormous resources previously dedicated to maintenance and replacement. Design freedom and the Internet of Everything. The most visible change for consumers would be the design of our devices. Right now, every electronic device is compromised by the need for power management. The port, the charging coil, the heat dissipation required for charging a large battery pack, all dictate size, weight, and aesthetics. With perpetual power, device designers are suddenly granted absolute freedom. The charging port disappears. Think about how much thinner your smartphone could be. It could be completely sealed, making it truly waterproof and dust-proof forever, eliminating the most common points of failure. This revolutionary battery technology unleashes the true potential of the Internet of Things, or IoT. Currently, scaling IoT networks is a logistical nightmare because every single sensor needs power. Smart city sensors monitoring traffic flow, environmental conditions, or structural integrity often rely on small, replaceable batteries or complicated wiring. If these sensors are now immortal, the cost of maintenance plummets to near zero. We could deploy millions of microscopic, perpetually powered sensors into every corner of our lives, in roadways, deep inside medical implants, woven into clothing, and embedded in infrastructure. Cities would become truly intelligent, gathering data points at an unprecedented scale without ever needing a technician to change a battery or plug in a wire. This reliable, continuous data flow would accelerate machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities, fundamentally changing everything from personalized medicine to disaster prediction. The automotive paradigm shift. While the smartphone is important, the true game changer lies in transportation. Electric vehicles, or EVs, have already begun their assault on the dominance of the internal combustion engine. However, the current limitations of EVs are significant: range anxiety, long charging times, and the massive, costly infrastructure required for widespread charging networks. With a lifetime battery, The EV landscape transforms instantly, range anxiety vanishes. A car could theoretically drive non-stop until the tires wear out. The need for charging stations, a multi-billion-dollar investment worldwide, disappears overnight. Gas stations might start selling off large portions of their land, as both gasoline and charging pumps become irrelevant. This means consumers are liberated. The car is now a true utility vehicle, ready to go whenever needed without the 20 to 60-minute pit stops currently required. This shift accelerates the adoption of autonomous driving. Self-driving fleets could operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, generating revenue continuously without the need to pull over for power. The economics of logistics and public transportation are utterly rewritten. Goods move faster and cheaper, and public transport becomes incredibly more efficient, leading to lower congestion and reduced fossil fuel dependency faster than any policy could ever enforce. The oil industry would be dealt a near-fatal blow, not by environmental regulations, but by market dynamics driven by superior, perpetual technology, the final frontier, powering the cosmos. The impact of perpetual power extends far beyond Earth's atmosphere. Space exploration is perhaps the greatest beneficiary. Current deep space probes, like the Voyager or New Horizons, rely on radioisotope thermoelectric generators, or RTGs, which convert heat from decaying plutonium into electricity. These systems are fantastically complex, expensive, and finite. They degrade over time. Imagine a perpetual battery powering an interstellar probe. We could send small, lightweight exploration vehicles far beyond the Kuiper Belt, collecting data for millennia. They would never need to orient themselves towards the sun for solar power. We could establish permanent, self-sustaining bases on the moon or Mars without relying on fragile solar arrays or complicated power transfer systems. This technology fundamentally changes the calculation for manned missions and colonization efforts, turning long-term survival into a simpler, more achievable goal. On Earth, industrial applications would also see massive change. Drones could fly indefinitely, completely transforming surveillance, agriculture, and delivery services. Deep-sea submersibles could explore the ocean floor for years without surfacing. Robotics could operate autonomously in hazardous environments without human intervention for refueling. We would essentially remove the tether of energy dependence from our most ambitious machines. The hidden costs and new anxiety, this utopian vision of perpetual power seems perfect, but like any massive technological leap, it introduces complex challenges, particularly ethical and environmental ones. First, the environment. While the energy itself is clean, what about the resulting electronic waste? If batteries last forever, the pressure point shifts to the other components: the screen, the processor, the plastic casing. If your phone's battery is immortal, you have less incentive to buy a new device. This could lead to intense pressure on manufacturers to invent new features to drive upgrades. However, the lifespan of devices would likely increase dramatically. A 5-year-old laptop would perform just as well as it did on day one, challenging the core concept of planned obsolescence that currently fuels the tech market. If devices last longer, consumption slows down. While that sounds good for the planet, it is disastrous for consumer electronics companies relying on short upgrade cycles. We might find ourselves in a world where manufacturers purposefully make other components non-repairable to force replacement, creating a new, intense layer of e-waste. Second, the question of energy distribution and control. If a single corporation holds the patent on the only truly perpetual battery, they hold ultimate power over the global energy supply. This would necessitate immediate and stringent governmental regulation to ensure the technology is widely accessible and affordable, preventing a monopoly that could dictate the future of transportation, communication, and military power. Finally, we trade one anxiety for another. We lose the anxiety of low battery, but we gain the anxiety of end of life. Because the device's failure is no longer related to power, its breakdown would be sudden and total. When the screen dies or the processor finally fails, it is an absolute failure because the power source itself cannot be blamed. This places a premium on reliability in every single component, demanding engineering perfection that we currently lack. The notion of a battery that lasts a lifetime is more than a convenience. It is a fundamental shift in how we structure our economies, how we design our technology, and how we view our relationship with time and resources. It promises an era of unprecedented freedom, efficiency, and exploration. Are we ready to live in a world where power is no longer a constraint, but an absolute guarantee? The challenges are substantial, but the potential rewards are truly astronomical.